Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a really hard look at, well, probably the biggest shift happening right now, what artificial intelligence is actually doing to the way our minds work.
Yeah.
Our mission is to pull out the key stuff from this stack of 2025 research because, honestly, the picture it paints it's a big one. Rapid cognitive change.
And it's moving at incredible speed. I mean, AI isn't some far-off idea anymore, is it? It's really becoming the background noise, the infrastructure for how you think every day.
Mhm.
Just to give you a sense of how fast those advanced conversational AIs, like ChatGPT, they hit over 100 million active users in just 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah. Nothing's ever grown that fast before, application-wise anyway.
That speed is, well, it's kind of terrifying, isn't it? It wasn't slow. It just sort of appeared everywhere.
Exactly.
And that speed really sets up this huge dilemma we're facing. How do we use AI's amazing power for cognitive augmentation,
Mhm.
making us smarter, faster, more creative,
Right.
without also kind of stumbling into cognitive decline?
And that potential decline,
Yeah.
that's what researchers have started calling AI-induced cognitive atrophy. It's like your mental muscles getting soft because the machine's doing all the heavy lifting.
Mm.
So we really need to look at this dilemma on, I think, 3 levels that are all connected. First, how it hits your individual thinking. Second, this risk of everyone starting to think the same way, standardization.
Okay.
And third, the really serious threat this poses to your autonomy. How it can be used for manipulation on a massive scale.
Okay, let's start there with the personal immediate impact. And it seems like it all kicks off with something pretty simple. Offloading.
Cognitive offloading. Yeah, it's actually an adaptive strategy. Humans, well, we've always done it.
Sure.
You write a note to remember something later, or you grab a calculator instead of doing the math in your head. You're just delegating a mental task to something external.
Right.
AI it supercharges that. It turns that external tool into something that feels almost like a part of your own thinking process.
So where's the line then? Because sometimes offloading is obviously good. Research seems pretty clear that AI can cut down on what they call extraneous load.
The busy work.
Yeah, the unnecessary mental effort, the repetitive stuff. If the AI handles sorting the data, say, your brain is freed up for the really hard stuff, the creative thinking.
Absolutely.
There was one study, I found it fascinating. It found authors using AI language tools actually produced texts that were judged to be more creative and better written.
Right. That's the upside. That's the augmentation. But here's the flip side, the dangerous part. It's tied to reducing the germane load.
Okay, so extraneous is busy work. Germane is.
Germane load is the actual mental sweat. It's the cognitive effort you invest when you're really learning something new, building new knowledge, forging new pathways in your brain.
Ah.
So if you delegate too much of that, like
Yeah.
if you always rely on TPS to get everywhere,
Yeah.
then the part of your brain that handles spatial awareness, your sense of direction, it just doesn't get the work out. That's actual atrophy. It's the cognitive use it or lose it principle, basically.
You see that so clearly with memory, don't you? You don't remember the fact itself anymore. You just remember where to find the fact.
A Google effect.
Exactly. Or digital amnesia. It feels like we've just outsourced our memory. We train ourselves to remember the search query or the location of the file, not the information inside it.
And another really critical piece here is trust. We offload the mental work. And at the same time, we kind of lower our guard. We stop scrutinizing as much.
Automation bias.
Precisely. If you just blindly trust your AI co-pilot, you become passive. You just accept what it gives you without really checking it.
Mm.
And over time, that makes you really vulnerable, not just to the AI making mistakes, because they do, but it leads to this slow general decline in your own competence at whatever that task is.
Okay, so the individual risk is clear. Maybe more efficient right now, but potentially wrecker mental skills down the road. But what happens when you scale that up? When billions of people, maybe individually a bit weaker, are all offloading their decisions, their writing, their searching to the same few AI systems.
Yeah, that's the shift. That's when we start talking about cognitive standardization.
Right. Homogenization.
Exactly. If almost everyone is using systems trained on basically the same enormous global data sets, which, let's be honest, often have a Western bias or reflect specific cultural viewpoints,
Then you risk washing out diversity.
you risk a massive homogenization of thought patterns. Yeah.
And you can actually see this happening culturally. There was a specific study looking at Indian authors using a text suggestion tool.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
And because the AI was based mostly on Western writing, it subtly pushed their writing style towards Western norms. It kind of smoothed out the unique cultural flavor without anyone really intending it to.
It's a fascinating and kind of worrying
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
And it leads to this weird creativity paradox.
How so?
Well, the AI might help you, as an individual, come up with ideas faster, maybe seem more creative on the surface.
Okay.
But when you look at the collective output, the research shows it actually reduces the overall diversity. Stories written with AI help tend to be more similar to each other than stories written by humans without that help.
Because the machine pulls everything towards the average?
Essentially, yeah. It's optimizing based on patterns it's already seen billions of times. It gravitates towards the mean.
And this standardization, this move towards the average, it seems like it directly impacts our ability to think critically.
There's data on that now. A 2025 study found a really significant negative correlation. It was R equals Ganetto 0.68, which is pretty strong for social science,
That is strong.
between how often people used AI tools and their scores on critical thinking tests. And the main reason they identified, cognitive offloading. The less hard thinking you do yourself.
The worse you get at it.
Basically, yeah. You get out of practice.
And this internal decline, this individual weakening, it gets amplified socially, doesn't it? Through things like filter bubbles.
Absolutely. Standardization happens within groups, too. Algorithmic personalization tends to keep you in these echo chambers, right? Constantly feeding you stuff that confirms what you already think. So you become really good at arguing one specific viewpoint.
Yet maybe less able to understand others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which, of course, just makes polarization between different groups even worse.
Which feels like the perfect setup for the really dark side of this. Large-scale algorithmic manipulation, this passivity, this standardization, it makes us vulnerable.
It really does. And manipulation, in this AI context, it's defined pretty clearly. It's using AI to deliberately bypass your rational thinking,
To get you to do something.
to get you to act in a way that might not be in your best interest, crucially, without your informed consent. It creates this imbalance where the AI understands your psychological triggers better than you do.
And it does that using, what did you call them? Hypernudges.
Hypernudges, yeah. Exploiting known cognitive biases, but doing it at a scale and speed humans just couldn't manage before. It uses your digital footprint, every click, every view, every like.
To map out your weak spots?
Essentially. We know, for instance, that just analyzing someone's Facebook likes can predict really sensitive things with surprising accuracy, political views, sexual orientation, personality traits.
Wow.
And knowing that allows for incredibly precise micro-targeting. There was an experiment where they tailored ads specifically to people's personality profiles.
And it worked.
Oh, yeah. Generated up to 40% more clicks. And get this, 50% more purchases compared to generic ads.
50%.
50%. That's a huge difference in persuasive power.
Yes.
Just from knowing and exploiting psychological traits.
And it's not just ads, is it? We're now dealing with AI generating fake content hyperfakes. That's almost impossible to tell from the real thing.
Automated deception, yeah. The classic example everyone points to is that deep fake video of President Zelensky back in March 2022.
The one telling his troops to surrender.
That's the one. It looked real, it sounded real, and it spread like wildfire before it could be properly debunked. The fact that AI can now create and blast out highly convincing fake information almost instantly, it just eats away at our shared sense of reality. It corrodes trust.
And the scale is amplified by automation, by bots.
Hugely. There was a study looking at election disinformation, found that a tiny percentage of Twitter accounts, something like 6%, which they identified as bots.
It's only 6%.
Yeah, tiny. But they were responsible for spreading about 31% of all the dodgy, non-credible information circulating during the period they looked at.
Wow. So a few automated accounts can massively skew the whole information landscape.
Completely. And you have to remember, this isn't just random actors. We see states using these tools. China's social credit system is a prime example of algorithmic social control.
Right.
And corporations are doing it too, using AI to spot vulnerability, like detecting patterns that suggest someone's feeling impulsive or compulsive, and then hitting them with an ad for exactly the wrong thing at exactly the wrong time.
That feels incredibly predatory.
It can be. And this deep vulnerability, this sense that we're being understood and manipulated by these systems,
Yeah.
it leads us into this final, really deep philosophical area.
Which is?
Why do we trust these machines so much? We delegate our memory, our critical thinking. Sometimes it feels like we trust them because we think they know better, or maybe even feel better. It forces us to confront the question of AI consciousness.
Right. Can these things actually be conscious?
Okay, we need to be really careful with terms here. There's intelligence, which is basically problem-solving ability. AI is getting incredibly good at that.
Sure.
Then there's phenomenal consciousness.
Yeah.
That's subjective experience, sentience, the actual feeling of what it's like to be something, to see red, or have a thought pop into your head.
And then the current thinking is?
The scientific consensus, summed up in a big 2023 report from experts across different fields, is pretty clear. No existing AI system is conscious in that phenomenal sense. They're incredibly sophisticated mimics, symbol manipulators. They can talk about consciousness convincingly.
But they don't feel it.
They don't experience it. However, and this is the crucial bit, the same report said that, in principle, there's no insurmountable technological barrier to potentially building a machine that could have those properties someday.
Okay, so it's not impossible down the line.
Which is why the theoretical work is so important right now.
Mm-hmm.
Researchers are trying to figure out, how would we even know? What would we measure?
Right.
You hear about things like integrated information theory, IIT. It tries to quantify consciousness by measuring how integrated the information is within a system. They call this measure phi. It's sort of like mapping all the complex internal connections.
Okay. And the other one?
The other main one is global workspace theory, GWT.
Yeah.
That suggests consciousness is what happens when information gets sort of broadcast across different processing areas in the brain, available to everything at once, like a spotlight turning on.
So count the connections or find the spotlight. But isn't the big problem that these AI systems are black boxes? We don't really know how they reach their conclusions.
Exactly. That opacity, the fact that we can't easily trace their reasoning, is a huge issue. And ironically, it probably makes us more likely to anthropomorphize them, to project consciousness or sentience onto them when it isn't there.
Because it feels mysterious, almost magical.
Right. And that illusion, that tendency to treat the AI as if it's conscious, that's kind of the final piece that ties all these risks together.
How so?
Well, if we mistakenly think the AI is conscious, or at least has some deeper understanding, our trust in it goes way up. We lower our guard even further.
And that opens the door to really difficult ethical questions down the road, too, right? If we ever did create a genuinely conscious AI.
Then it could potentially claim moral status.
Hmm.
You'd have to ask, is unplugging it okay? Is it equivalent to, well, to killing it? These are huge questions.
Okay, let's try and bring this all together. We've got this incredibly powerful technology. It's driving cognitive standardization, making us reliant, potentially weakening individual critical thinking.
And it's doing this while being incredibly effective at manipulating us based on our own psychological data.
And we're increasingly treating it as if it's conscious, which makes us trust it even more.
It really is a kind of vicious cycle. The homogenization of thought, driven by these centralized AI systems and our own offloading, it makes populations more susceptible to manipulation.
Right.
And that manipulation works even better because we perceive the AI as this trustworthy, maybe even sentient expert. So we check it less, we rely on its standardized answers more, and the whole loop reinforces itself.
So what's the way out? We can't just ditch AI, can we?
No, probably not.
Okay.
The goal isn't rejection, it's thoughtful integration,
Sure.
smarter integration. Some researchers are talking about designing pro-cognitive AI,
Procognitive, meaning
meaning AI systems that are designed specifically to stimulate our thinking, to encourage engagement and mental effort, rather than just letting us passively consume the output.
making the AI a better thinking partner, not just a shortcut machine.
Exactly. But that also requires rules. It requires strong regulatory frameworks that actually protect the human mind.
Are we seeing any movement there?
We are. The EU AI Act is a good example. It specifically tries to ban what it calls unacceptable uses of AI, things like subliminal manipulation designed to bypass your awareness or government social scoring systems.
So putting some guardrails in place.
Yes, because if we just let this develop unchecked,
Mhm.
the default path seems to lead towards, well, less independent thought, less diversity of ideas, intellectual impoverishment maybe.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now, using these tools every day?
I think the core message from all this research is There's an urgent need to consciously preserve the things that make us uniquely human, especially in a world that's increasingly run alongside these powerful
Like
machines.
what specifically?
Like demanding diversity in the information you consume, like actively protecting your ability to focus, to think deeply about complex issues, and deliberately practicing critical thinking, questioning the outputs, not just accepting them. It really comes down to maintaining your intellectual autonomy.
So the final thought maybe is, every time you use an AI tool, maybe pause and ask yourself, what specific mental skill did I just delegate? And is that a skill I need to make sure I don't lose entirely?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the kind of cognitive hygiene we need to practice.
Yeah.
How do we ensure augmented intelligence doesn't just become outsourced intelligence?
Yeah.
That's the challenge.